YouTube, hello. I hope everybody's doing well on this lovely holiday Juneteenth Thursday morning. Well, is it morning? It's about to be afternoon, so it's about 11:30. So good afternoon to all of you, and good evening if you're watching this in the evening time. Here is my 2024 WRX TR. I did a couple of modifications on it since I've had this for a little over a month now, and I've already put over 2,000 miles on it. For those of you who don't know, I do live out of state from where I work, so I travel pretty much every week about 300 miles one way, so that's 600 miles a week. So getting this car was definitely at the top of my bucket list due to the fact that it is a really fun daily driver, and with the amount of miles and hours that I put in a car a week, I needed something that was very entertaining and something that I know I want to keep long term. So, you know, obviously if you've been on the channel for a while, you know that I have had the 2023 Premium for a little bit, but I felt like it had some shortcomings that I was gonna fix anyway. But I decided to just go for a full upgrade, and as well as forego the GR86, and you know, just go with one car for a while and just focus on building this one car and making it in the image of what I want it to be. And you know, obviously having the extra space in the back seat with dealing with my kids and everything is a welcome addition to having the total package of a car. And I believe, in all honesty, this is one of the best daily drivers, the best value as far as a TR trim that you can get right now on the market. Now, is it worth getting this over a Premium or a base? I don't know. We could definitely talk about that in the comment section below. Please let me know which one you guys have, but I could definitely make an argument that having this trim at 34K, which is basically what I got this one for, 34,000 for a TR, I think, with the sport suspension, which again is a little bit better than the stock. I'm just comparing the two from my 23 to my 24. A little bit tighter, a little bit stiffer, but definitely better around the corners. And obviously having the what we call the 6-pot Brembo calipers up front, and I think it's a 2-pot at the rear, and obviously they're red, so that's an extra, say it with me fellas, 5 horsepower right up there. So already a faster car than my 23 WRX Premium. I don't have my my little caps on here. I plan on getting the STI ones. I don't know why. I believe that who did I get these tires from? Fitment Industries. I don't know what happened with those caps, but I have 2 on one side and none on, you know, and none on the other side, so it's hilarious, but no big deal. I'm gonna just get those STI caps from Subaru and you know, just spice up the wheel a little bit more. Also, I do plan on changing the brake pads, because look at the amount of dust that comes on these when you use them, and being that I do drive a lot of back roads very aggressively, like it just cakes up my whole wheel. Like that wheel is supposed to be a gloss and it looks matte, and it doesn't look like I want it to look, but we'll get that fixed. That's not a big deal. Once I take it to the track, I'll be putting on different pads anyway, so I'll definitely I honestly think, I'm gonna say this because they do squeak a bit, I think those have track pads on them. I really believe that they do, but I'm not sure yet. I'll definitely let you guys know once I swap them out, because I haven't really got into looking at what those pads are as of yet. But anyways, like I said, guys, I got a 24 WRX TR. I'll give you a good walk around and we'll talk about what I've done with it so far. I did get a PLM, basically like a STI muffler exhaust, pretty much the same shape as the ones with the STI embroidery on it, and they make the same sound. They're pretty much the same. but it's just PLM. Shout out to them. They sent these over to me within a week actually. So I could say I've already done about 400 miles on them. A little bit of a drone in a lower RPMs, but not unbearable, unlike axlebacks that you would get with like no muffler. I was thinking to get mufflers, so that's why I went with this one, just as a stopgap until I get a full exhaust system, which I plan on going with the HKS exhaust system. I wanted to get this one for the simple fact that the axleback thing just doesn't do it for me for this car. The engine is just too boomy. It puts too much volume, and having the no mufflers in the back definitely makes that sound very exaggerated, and I didn't really want to deal with that, especially driving as much as I drive in. I really wanted something comfortable, so I went with this for now. It was pretty cheap, and I figured I'd use this until I get my full exhaust system, because like I said, I want to build this thing from head to toe, and I don't want to shortchange myself and get something, you know, and not get something and I live to regret it, because I will want something else. And the HKS setup is something I definitely want to go for. I did grab the TR badge from what was it, Subi Mods, and at first I was like, I don't know, you know, I was kind of thinking like it looks kind of meh, but now I don't mind it. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all, like I don't really mind it anymore, but I'll tell you now, I do plan on putting the S4 badge where that TR badge is. I do like it. Again, if I had the red WRX logo right up on top of it, it would kind of look a lot better, in my opinion, not with the chrome. But I do plan on putting the S4 badge there once I kind of get the aero set up to build this as a S210 variant of the car, the STI S210. So since I'm going that route with it, I am going to throw the S4 badge on there and just have an S4 replica American version of the car. So that's my overall premise of what I'm trying to go for. So that TR badge is just there as a placeholder. I'll most likely take it off and throw the S4 badge there, because I think that's the direction I'm going to go into, and definitely going with a swan neck wing rather than the STI wing like I had on my magnetite gray. So definitely going in a different direction than I did with my magnetite gray one, just because I already had the wing on there. The STI wing looks great, but again, I want this thing to be in the exact image that I picture this car being in, which also means the fender flares, I think I'm gonna get those paint matched or carboned. So we'll see. I might just go paint match, but again, that's to be determined. And this is very understated. Actually, yeah, this is very understated here. I think when you first get your VB, for those of you who are still in the market, these tires are a must. Dunlops, or what did I have, the S007s on the 19 inches, they're fine. They're actually better than the Dunlops. The Bridgestone S007s are better than the Dunlops for sure. But obviously I'm comparing this to my 23 WRX, and the PS4S's on this car, it's just like it was meant to be on this car. And you guys all know, I have a car that I'm trying to, you know, be competitive with, which is the best sports sedan in the market under $100,000, which is the Civic Type R. So I got to have the tires to perform, you know what I mean? So if I were you, if you got anything premium limited or whatever, invest into PS4S's. They'd probably be a little bit cheaper now that the PS5s are on the market. Get some of those. Hopefully you can find a good deal on them. And I'm telling you, 255 40, what is it, 255 45? Where am I at? I'm trying to look at the size here. 255 35, I'm sorry about that. And I think they're 9.5. So that right there, the car feels planted. I think it's very well balanced, if I must say so myself. The corners feel great. the car just feels better with these tires on them. And I did go down to 18s instead of sticking with 19s like the stock wheels. I do still have the stock wheels. I think ultimately when I start putting these things to the test on the track and they start getting a little wear and tear on them, once the snow starts coming back in a few months, I'll probably go, if I still have them, I'll probably just put snow tires on them and you know, definitely just use those as a swap out for, you know, the stock versus my summer slash track wheels setup and everything like that. So that's something I'll definitely do. But like I said, if you're in the market for a VB and you have one, or you still have everything stock on your VB, I recommend one of the really good mods, especially if you plan on tracking this car or autocross or anything. Go up from 245 to 255 on the tire and go with some PS4S's. They're still a little bit pricey right now, but again, I'm hoping they get cheaper here in the next few months because these are really good tires. When it's raining, it's been raining a lot out here on the East Coast the last month or so. I've been killing it, guys. I'm telling you, like, that rain is nothing, man. I feel like everything is dry. These things are so good in the wet. I mean, I can't say enough about them, you know. And honestly, they're perfect for this car. It's like they should have came from the factory with those tires on them, and they look a little bit beefy. I am not gonna lie, I like the way that they have the stance on them. Now granted, people are gonna mention the wheel gap and the suspension setup and everything like that. I haven't gotten that far as far as, you know, fixing, I wouldn't say fixing the wheel gap, because I don't mind it, because in my, you know, it's about 4 fingers, which again, I don't mind really, because the way I'm using this car and as much as I use this car, you know, I don't want to be hitting potholes or have it too low to where I'm damaging anything. And I am going to have a front lip. I'm going to have aero on here. So, you know, and then once I do get to the part to go into the suspension, it is going to be lower, maybe an inch. But I'm not looking for perfect fitment, because this is not a show car. You know, a lot of people harp on fitment being perfect and dialed in. For me, it's just going to be function over form for the most part. As long as it can perform well on the track and I can get it to where it does what I need it to do, I'm just going to keep it close to stock height as possible, or if not, half an inch lower. Other than that, I think it's fine the way it is, just because I know that I use this on a regular basis. It's not just a one-trick pony. It's built for everything. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, having it lowered isn't really high on my priority list, because I just don't think it needs to be, in my opinion, because of the way I use the car. I go on roads that I don't even know half the time, trying to get back and forth to work, and, you know, traveling from Pennsylvania to the DMV. So I need my car to be as safe as possible and, you know, have it function the way it needs to function. So I don't want any drawbacks when it comes to that. And then when I get on the track, when I do get that adjustable suspension, I'll definitely set it up to where it's performing well on the track as well. So I guess we can get into the driving portion of this, and I'll let you guys know, like, you know, is it worth buying the TR, which I think it is, over a base model. So that was a long-winded introduction and a walk around of the car, but hey, let's get to the driving portion.
Hello? Are you paying attention? Good.
I like how this thing growls when it starts up. It's awesome. Hopefully the AC isn't too loud for you guys. Just gonna take a drive home and show you some cool roads that just so happen to be by where I'm at. So yeah, so should you get the TR or the base model, the limited, heck, even the TS? Quick disclaimer, I almost got one. I was close. I had the contract, everything, almost pulled the trigger, but honestly, and I think most of you will agree, even with the adaptable suspension, which again, I'm gonna change my suspension anyway, I just couldn't justify spending $55,000 out the door for the TS. Granted, I still love the WRX as it is, but I think with it being $55,000, it just starts to lose that value that it currently has with any other trim level, because you're not really, like I said, the only difference, especially now that I have a TR, right? The only difference between the TR and the TS is the adaptable suspension. Now this has sports suspension on it, and it is a bit stiff, but it definitely it makes the car a little bit more planted. It feels more race car-y, I guess. I don't know how I'm kind of describing that. So the suspension isn't bad, but I still do plan on changing it, because I would rather have the adjustability of making it softer. You know, for example, when I'm driving to work and everything, driving on the roads, I kind of want to make it more comfortable. And, you know, spending $1,600–1,700 for that is just not too big of a deal for having that adaptability and that adjustability, you know, based on what I'm trying to do at that time. Like I said, this car is meant to, for me anyway, my use case is meant to do pretty much everything I needed to do as far as performing well on track, and also you know, feeling comfortable enough on the street, you know, because sometimes I have a bad back, so sometimes, like, you know, some of these rougher roads are a bit harsh, and especially with these seats being as firm as they are, being that they're somewhat bucket seats. I do love the adjustments on these, by the way, but they're a little bit difficult for older people, I guess, and someone like me that has a bad back and everything like that. So but I deal with it, you know, because I know eventually I'm gonna try to compensate for what this lacks, what the seat lacks, you know. So for me, this has always been like, when I compared this to the TS, I'm like, what am I gaining from getting that car? You get the blue stitching and the blue seats and stuff like that, but you know, I sat in it, I test drove it and everything like that. It's pretty much the same. Again, the suspension and the steering is a little bit more dialed in, but not too noticeable of a difference for me to garnish, for me to say, being that I paid $34,000 for a slightly used one, you know, unmodified, out the door, to go $20,000 more for a brand new TS. I just couldn't justify the amount of money that was, you know, that I would have to, you know, fork out to get that car. So I just, for me, it was just kind of a no-brainer. It just made more sense. Cheaper car payment, pretty much give me everything I want. I got Recaro seats, and I think I mentioned before in my other video, I do have a short shifter, like a whole mechanical mechanism that's going to go into this car at the end of the month. I have an appointment with what is it, 6 Star Performance, I think that's what they're called. They're local here to my area, and they've been working on Subarus for years, so I'm definitely going to give them a shout out. I definitely got an appointment with them at the end of the month, so I'm looking forward to that, you know, having a shorter throw shift and maybe smoother shifts, and, you know, basically fixing the shortcomings of the shifter, which we all know first and second is kind of like a little loose and rubbery. But overall, honestly, I don't think the shifter is that bad, but that is definitely a shortcoming when compared to something like a Honda, right? So I'm going to address that as you know, as well. But I've been looking at the prices lately, and honestly, I think a TR, again, if you're trying to track the car, or if you're trying to do like anything performance wise on it or rallying, I think the TR is a hell of a value. And I think there are plenty out there, you know, for those people who are interested to find. You could find this car for about $35,000, and it was 42 brand new. So I think this car with the Recaros and what it, you know, what it comes with the 19s and everything, I think this car is really competitively priced in the used market. But then I would also say, if you can find a base model, you know, slightly used, unmodified, because you want to do your own mods, right? You don't want somebody else's work already put on it. You know, you kind of want to do your own thing. So if you could find one that's $25,000, maybe 26 and below, I would go for something like that. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go for a salvage title, but I've seen a couple of those on the market. But I would say something along the lines of, you know, $25,000, $24,000 with like 30,000 miles. These cars last a long time, contrary to what you may believe. They are very reliable, and I think as long as they're unmodified, I would go for something like that. That would be probably the best value you can get, because again, you essentially get the same power as any other WRX currently, and you get to choose how you want to build that car. So it's basically new to you, you know, granted it's used, and if you can get a certified pre-owned at that price, hey, go for it, you know. But if you're willing to spend 30 grand for a brand new one, I would say, instead of getting like a premium for like 34,000 brand new, just get a used TR. There's plenty on the market, I promise you that are decently low mileage that you can get, and then you get pretty much everything that an S4 has, you know, and obviously a TS has, minus the adaptable suspension. So I think that's definitely worth the price of admission. So I would say the TR, is it worth it? Yes. Is it worth it over a base or a premium if you can get it at 30,000 or below? I think they're pretty much even. It all depends on what your use case is. If you're just trying to get a daily, I would go for a cheaper model. But if not, just go for the TR, man. I think it's a hell of a value right now. And if you guys would look and be willing to travel too. I mean, I've always said that in my videos. Be willing to travel for these things because they're really good. And I would say honestly that you would definitely have your money's you have money well spent if you got a TR within $34,000. It's that good. Like I said, the only complaint I would say I would have is, again, the seats are a little stiff, but I'm getting kind of used to them. But I know a lot of people kind of swap these out for limiteds, because I will be honest with you, the premium trim that I had, the seats were way more comfortable, but on the track I was kind of sliding everywhere. These kind of really hold you in. They have really good bolstering. So this is definitely going to be a better use case for me because I actually go to the track. So, you know, different strokes for different folks, but I think honestly, either trim right now in the used market, you can't go wrong with it. Just look for an unmodified one so that you can definitely get your money's worth out of it, and then you could be the one to create something that's within your image and not someone else's. And that's all I got for right now, fellas. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know in the comment section below if you do have what trim level you do have, or if you're in the market, which one you're looking at. And like I said, don't be afraid to just filter for TR, because they're out there. There are plenty out there. I was gonna go for a black one, but I ended up going for a sapphire blue just because it was different. The black one looked so awesome, but I had a magnetite gray, so I said, you know what, I never had a blue car, so why not? So that's one of the reasons why I went for this one, and it was a pretty uncommon color from what I saw. So again, that's all I got. See you guys in the next video.